This is Jessica
And this is Kelly. And this is the Chasing Brighter
podcast.
Hi, Jess.
Hey, Kelly.
I am really excited about today's episode. We're going to be talking about having a self-ful holiday. As you know very well, because you are a bit of a perfectionist, I think, about the holiday season, it can be stressful and there's a lot of activities. Today, we wanted to share with our listeners about how to stay self-ful during the holidays.
Yes. I love the term that you have coined, Kelly, where it's like for women, it's selfish if you do something for yourself and don't put others first. And so we are huge advocates here at Chasing Brighter on looking at it in a way that if you don't care for yourself, right, you can't be the best version of yourself to be the best employee, the best boss, the best wife, the best partner, the best mom, the best sister, right? It is so imperative that you pour into yourself, right? And today, we had 5 tips. And we also just kind of wanted to have a conversation about the holidays, how we've handled it, and some changes we want to make this year.
Yeah. And then we can also share some of the fun local ideas that we had on how to get that, make that happen for.
Totally. Let's all make a resolution this year to prioritize self-care during the holidays.
I love it.
And I think that can start with tip number 1, set aside time for yourself. How do you do that on the regular, Cal?
Well, I think that that's a combination of things. One is, like literally carving out time for yourself, but also I think about being self-aware that a moment that you have is your time for yourself. And so what I mean by that is, whether it can be little things too. And it's kind of that whole just being aware of those moments, whether it's getting a manicure and like actually doing something, or maybe it's a little thing like taking time for yourself to practice meditation or read a book or something like that. What do you think, Jess?
I love that. And I think about what Sophia Lyon said, in our podcast, where it doesn't have to be this big thing, right? Where it costs money or takes some amount of time, but that no matter like wherever you're at, like you can lay on the floor and put your legs up the wall, right? That is a pose that helps with the parasympathetic nervous system from a yoga pose. And so it's like, that's 5 minutes. You can do that anytime, anywhere, right? Taking breaths, just, I think what I'm hearing you say too is it's also kind of engaging in the positive self-talk, right? And being very purposeful with your time this time of year. Looking for myself in the past, I've tried to cram everything in and make everything, really about my kids, and putting in all of this little detail into everything, knowing that about myself, what I have been doing this year. And to be honest, it's taken a huge hit to my bottom line in my practice, but I have been taking a lot more time off. When my kids don't have school, I take time off. I am taking the week of Thanksgiving off, which is the first time I've ever done that. And so I'm trying to be really mindful of my time and self-ful with my time. Obviously as a mental health therapist, I'm worried about my clients and want to put them first, but it's okay if I take 5 days off. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just hard to make the first move to do things like that, to take a step away and make that.
I'm very fortunate. I know you are as well, right? We both have complete control of our schedule for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, I think nothing's perfect, to your point, but yeah, I mean, I think it's about, I think one of the themes overall for the holiday season is about, we talked about boundaries, but it's not only boundaries with other people, but boundaries for yourself too. I think that's part of setting aside time for yourself, is setting some boundaries for yourself on what, when is it time for yourself, as you talk about even like filling up your cup, right? So
Yeah. So think about if you had 5 to 10 minutes a day, what you would do at that time, and then make it happen.
And make sure it's something that is truly for yourself. That is like, again, something that's like, what do I say? Like fulfilling,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, in different ways.
Totally.
Yeah. And so the second tip we have is get moving. So, exercise, as we all know, even though we're not as good at executing it, is really, really good for your mood and managing stress. And, living in Chicago, it's not always fun to go outside when it's cold. But, I think getting moving is a great way to do that. And you can definitely do that inside. One of the things that I did just during COVID was I invested in a lot of like layered pieces of clothing so I could go outside. My husband and I ended up walking a lot during the lockdown, and it actually is fun to be outside even when it is during the winter. So it is no excuse even when it's too cold. And I think, again, this is another one for me. I feel like even if you're doing it 10 minutes a day, I have a Peloton, they have 10-minute workouts. And it's little things like that sometimes that I need to practice what I preach here. But I do find that even when I'm doing that 10-minute workout, it's a huge like rush of endorphins and feel goods, which help me get through some of my more stressful parts of my day.
And I know we've talked about that before. It's kind of counterintuitive. You feel like you don't have the energy, you don't feel like doing it, but then when you do it, it fuels your energy.
Yes.
And I know you and I, there's a million apps. The Nike Fit app is free. Isn't there one like 7-minute workout app that's free? There's a million
Pinterest workouts, right?
YouTube, right? Yeah, just a list of workout that's like 10 push-ups, 10 crunches, 10 jumping jacks, and then YouTube. I've done when the weather, I'm really fortunate. The weather here is so wonderful. What would keep me inside would be the rain, or when we have dangerous winds.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we can work out outside over 330 days of the year or whatever. But I do the walking. The woman, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she walks in place. It's kind of a cheesy workout, but like, you get your heart rate up, you get your steps, you're moving in place. And then I found a little inexpensive kind of folding treadmill because we had a lot of dangerous, like a lot of windstorms and a lot of dangerous winds this year. And I was talking to my husband about putting in the garage now that the weather's cooler. And he was like, no, we should keep it out. And if you're watching TV, hop on the treadmill, right? Then there's no excuse that we're moving. So all of those, and then not even heart rate increasing workouts, but stretching, yoga, any kind of thing.
It's like literally like walk away from your desk, your work, whatever it is, right? And get into a mindset of doing something for your body, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can even just be a walk around the block, right? Or walking up and down. I can get 10,000 steps just cleaning and putting clothes away. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of get moving. If you feel like you have more limited time or not an option to be working outside or in a gym.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And looking at tip 3, make a plan to be with the people you enjoy.
I think this is my favorite tip. And, really using the holidays, although there's no reason why you can't do it year round, but it is a fun time to get together and reconnect with friends. And I find it to be a time where it just can be more festive than your run of the mill, getting together just for dinner. It's something special about during the holiday season to do that.
Well, I think too, it can be a time of obligations where you're going to events that you don't really want to be at or with people you don't want to be at. So I think it's important that you also are carving out opportunities to be with people you care about. I know I've said this before, but my friend Teresa, who's been on the podcast before, we used to walk almost every single day when the kids were little. And so it's like I know that life is balanced when I'm able to see Teresa once a week. Today, I'm going to go for a walk with her and we're going to go grab coffee. But that's really important for me, and knowing I'm caring for myself and being self-ful when I'm seeing her once a week. And then also, I know we're going to talk in a little bit about the local stuff that's happening. But there are some local things that I'm going to be making reservations for and getting tickets for to go with my girlfriends, which I'm super excited about.
And I think to your point, there's a lot of fun holiday festive things you can do without even spending a lot of money. It's grabbing a quick cup of coffee and maybe doing some window shopping with friends. Every city has some sort of a festive area, right? That you could easily just kind of walk around and do that. And maybe you squeeze in a little of the holiday shopping too, to kind of reduce some of that stress.
And you've been here. We have Ethel M's Cactus Garden.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a great one.
Ethel M is from like M&M Mars or whatever their high-end chocolate brand. And they have this gorgeous cactus garden and they decorate it for the holidays and it's free. They'll have carolers, you could take some friends, grab some coffee, right? Grab some cocktails and go walk around and look at it.
Here in Chicago, Lincoln Park Zoo Lights is also free. And it is just the zoo in Lincoln Park that you can just walk around and do the same thing.
That's awesome. And it's free?
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of holiday lights. It's kind of weird, right? Yeah. Because obviously animals don't care about holiday lights. So you don't see as many animals. Most of them aren't nocturnal either. And they don't decorate like the lizard aquarium, terrarium or anything like that. So,
but you get what you pay for.
Yeah. But it's really fun. They serve adult beverages and stuff along the way too. So
that's fun.
Yeah. Really the last tip that I'm going to talk about is tip number 4, which is doing some things that make you happy. And I think this is a big one, that, there's a balance because like you said, you're not always doing stuff that you get to do during the holiday season. But when you're carving out that time for yourself, really try to be mindful of also thinking about things that make you happy.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to be doing different this year is starting some traditions that are not with my children, but thinking about, it's kind of similar to the third tip, but you can do this alone, right? But what are some traditions you want to do? And one of the things that you and I have talked about a little bit, I think goes with this, is like getting your own advent calendar.
Yes.
And I think that's so fun to have a countdown. If you celebrate Christmas, if you don't celebrate Christmas, then you can still be down for an advent calendar, but just being able to have something luxurious and fun that you get to do every day. Have you chosen what yours is going to be this year?
I have, yeah. And I was also going to interject. even if you celebrate Hanukkah, there's still similar activities, right, that you can kind of do for yourself. Yeah. But yeah, for the advent calendar this year, I'm doing the Vosges chocolate holiday advent calendar, which is definitely a splurge for me this year. And I'm really excited about it.
I love it. I don't know if I want to do the Vosges one or I did the Newhouse one, the Belgian one last year, which I loved because I love their pralines. Trader Joe's has really great ones too. And I was maybe going to look at World Market and see what they had. And then I think I don't know if I pronounce it right. Is it Flaviar? Mm-hmm. How do you say Flaviar? I did for the Flaviar whiskey tasting calendar. I ordered that for my husband. And then somebody told me there was a wine one at Costco or Sam's.
Yeah.
So I feel like you could have multiple, like you could be having a whiskey and some chocolate or a wine and some chocolate. So maybe I need to have 2. But that's what I want to do to have fun this year is kind of.
As long as it makes you happy.
Well, so my 12-year-old was asking, my birthday is next week. And he was like, are you excited for your birthday? And I was like, oh, when you're older, it's just a little bit different, it's just different. And so we were kind of talking about it. And it's not that I'm ungrateful, but it's not like when you're a kid and it's this, party. And I mean, it
Everybody
can be,
makes you things or like whatever it is.
but it's like, I have, his birthday and then Thanksgiving. And it's just always kind of been my birthday's kind of been like,
it's really kind of close this year.
Dropped to the wayside. And so I think it's my experience being a parent that as soon as we had our oldest, everything became about her. All the holidays became about her. It's about my kids. And that's the kind of parent I want to be. But that doesn't mean that there can't be things I want to do. And I am taking my birthday off. And so I was thinking, instead of just taking my birthday off, what can I do that day? Do I want to schedule something for myself? And so that is, I will be, you tell me how old I am. I don't even know anymore. 44. I'll be 44. Yeah. And it's like, I can do things for myself, so I'm a little delayed in this journey, but I am excited to start prioritizing myself because it's not selfish and it's okay to do things just for me. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about with this tip is it's like, what are some things that you can do just for you, whatever that looks like, whatever is just delightful, and continue to make that a priority.
And I think this is where, if you are surrounded by people who are coming from love and kindness, they will absolutely support you in that. I think, one of the things that, and what I mean by that is it's like, if you're worried your spouse is going to give you a hard time or something, like that's on them. It's not on you. And the other thing too is, if you are with somebody who's loving and supportive, chances are they'll be all about it too, because they want to do things that they love, the idea of doing things that make you happy. And likewise, it's reciprocal, and they should be doing the same thing too.
Yeah. I think just to kind of follow up on that, I think about, is the story you're telling yourself based on reality, right? So if you're saying, I can't do that because they'll think I'm selfish or blah, blah, blah. And then in reality, no one's really paying attention and the people around you love and support you.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like there's going to be some kind of backlash.
Yes.
I think that kind of goes into our final tip today, tip 5, which is know and respect your limits by saying no. Right.
Yep.
Boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, the holidays get super busy. There are obligations that you have, but there are obligations that you don't have to do. And so it can be a time to explore those and figure out what it is you will and will not do. And I think learning to say no makes more time for yourself, right? Which is really what our goal is during the holiday season, and just making sure that you're staying happy and healthy and making time for yourself.
And I think what we talk so much here at Chasing Brighter about is listening to your gut, And so if there's an obligation or you're invited to something and you really don't want to go, don't go. And, I learned a long time ago, you don't have to tell anybody anything. You can just say, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it. That's not going to work for me. Doesn't look, you don't have to make up something and lie. You don't have to make up this big, long excuse. You can say, I hope you guys have so much fun. Thank you for the invite. We won't be able to go.
Did you hear about, I was just telling my kids about this, which they didn't really care. There's FOMO, but there's a new one, which is JOMO, joy of missing out. Have you heard about this?
No.
I don't know if somebody's making it up.
Kelly, I am full of JOMO. I'm so full of JOMO right now.
I married somebody who's full of JOMO, and I'm moderately trying to be JOMO. It's hard when you have a lot of, things that you feel like you need to be a part of, and just learning to say no. So hopefully I can find my JOMO and get more mojo.
Yeah.
Was that a dad joke?
I tell the kids all the time, mom joke. I'm like, mom joke. I'm like, moms are just as funny. And they're like,
that's true.
Stop talking.
I should
moms are hysterical. Moms have great jokes.
Yeah, they do.
I think it's like, I was thinking about that today. I'm like, where are my obligations? I think it's quality over quantity these days for me. And so I've just curated a group of people that I'm not getting like invitations left and right because I just want to be more chill and more present. And with 3 kids and millions of activities, I feel like we're going, going, going. And so it's just delightful for us to stay home. I don't know if I told you this. Justin showed me a meme that was like, I used to sneak out of the house to go to parties. And now I sneak out of parties to go to the house. Like,
that's great.
Yes, that's like where we're at. We're like, yes. We're going to show up. All right, I'll meet you in the car.
Right.
They don't know we're leaving. And so I love that because it's true. It's so true. And I think, again, knowing your gut and following your joy. And if the joy is a party, great. And if the joy is staying home, you don't have to feel guilty or anything about it because you know yourself and you're tapped into your knowing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So as we were going through and doing some examination of, what tips we had on having a self-ful holiday, I don't know about you, Jess, but I had a lot of fun thinking about some ideas of some self-ful events here in Chicago.
Yeah, I feel like, so much for me, so much of Chasing Brighter is also stuff that I've curated being a therapist, right? And I always am encouraging my clients to explore ways to be connected. And so this past week, I feel like I've been like a Las Vegas local guide because I'm like, did you know we have this? Did you know we have this? Like all these free events because you and I have been doing all this research about all the fun stuff in our area.
Yeah.
I feel like I could be a guide right now to local Las Vegas activities.
Yeah, me too. I think it also reinvigorated me to kind of re-experience some of the things that I definitely take for granted living in this city, getting out and about a lot more, making time to do that. I think that's really the part. I really have a hard time committing to something because I feel like I don't know in the moment if I'm going to feel like doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to have stress. I feel like I changed a lot from the lockdown where I had nothing to do and I realized how glorious it was and I wasn't anxious and I didn't have a lot of stress, that I'm trying to like protect that still. And it's slowly being chipped away. But I think making time to do fun activities really is like good for my soul. Last night we went to a Bulls game and it was really fun. I was worried like the game was late with daylight savings time changing, all the things. But in the moment, it was really a lot of fun, not only for the kids, but for Brian and I as well. And so I think, holding on to that feeling and holding on to that thinking and making a new well-worn path of like experiencing things out in the world and connecting with others.
And I think what helps is either like engaging your village to create accountability or making reservations or buying tickets.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like that's my goal this season because I was even talking to a client. We have Gilcrease Orchard and they have a big pumpkin patch and they have apple cider donuts and all of this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go. And they're closed for the season and I missed it. And it's like that kind of happens. Oh, it snows at Mount Charleston. We're going to go tubing. Oh, it's April. There's
sold
no more
out.
snow.
Well, I've always wanted to do that with you.
Yeah. And so.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, even I was researching in Chicago, quintessential activity is to see the windows at Macy's and then eat a meal at the Walnut Room, usually brunch or dinner, because there's this giant tree. They have a Santa meal. It's a big deal. And at the time of this recording, it's already booked up and there's only like a handful of things left. And it's like 4:30 on a Wednesday, January 8th, like it's already full. So I was like, well, I guess we missed out on that for the season. It seems like more and more people have caught on to a lot of these traditions as well. And so then for me too, it's like, I struggle with like, do I want to just do what everybody else is doing anyway? Like, what are some of the other things that are a similar experience that are just a little less popular, those hidden gems? I live for hidden gems in this city too.
What I'm excited about, and my friend Stephanie is just so amazing. She always knows all the little things, everything that's happening or trending, she'll send me. And so what I'm so excited for, so we have like the casinos on the Strip. And then if they're not on the strip, they're called the local casinos here, where locals go. And so there's a casino called the Silverton. And I've never been in it. I need to figure out where this is, because I've gone to the Silverton a lot because they have a huge aquarium, which I think the people that what's that tanked is tanked a show. It's a people that make tanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they made this, and they have all these fish, and they have Bass Pro Shop. So when the kids are little, we used to go to Bass Pro Shop. They have like every animal ever taxidermied, and we'd walk through there and we'd go see the fish. And over the years, they've added mermaids in the Silverton. So that's just like a place to go for free. We walk around with the kids, look at the fish, whatever. But in there, they have Shady Grove Lounge, which is a bar that has an Airstream inside of it, an Airstream trailer inside of it. And this year they have the Bad Elf pop-up bar.
That sounds really fun.
They have, I think it's kind of like supposed to be kind of cheesy in there, right? And so the Airstream's decorated with lights, everything's decorated. And there are 3 different experiences that you can purchase tickets for ahead of time, where you can go and have like a cocktail or a cocktail in a commemorative glass, or all of these different things that you can reserve ahead of time. And it looks like so much fun. So that is what I'm trying to book with my girlfriends right now, is the Bad Elf experience. I think that sounds like so much fun.
Well, Chicago definitely has its fair share of holiday pop-ups. But while I was researching this now, they're not really out yet. I think there was 1 or 2, and there's usually quite a few. I mean, they had a Christmas Vacation pop-up last year, which has been really cool. And I've never hit one of those, so I definitely need to try that this year. But one of the things that I did do with my girlfriends last year, which is really super duper awesome, and especially if you have, if you're, your tribe, even maybe you have daughters, what's really fun is holiday tea. So they have tea at the Drake or the Peninsula Hotel, which are downtown off the Magnificent Mile, which is super decorated and festive during the holidays. But having tea is fantastic. Both the Drake and the Peninsula have boozy teas. So it's not just that you're drinking tea. They also serve champagne and things too, which is really fun. And it's usually a prefix menu. My girlfriends and I last year did like a white elephant, and, had a super fabulous time. And we did tea at the Peninsula, which was really cool.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. I love a high tea. I love Green Valley Ranch. It's like my favorite locals casino, which is where I live near.
Just around the corner.
So yes. And around the pool area is where they do a lot of different holiday stuff. Like for fall, they have all this stuff. For fall, every Saturday morning, it's free yoga.
Nice.
Like at 9 a.m.
or
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are calling it Winter at the Terrace. And they have fire pits. They have a holiday themed like outdoor pop-up lounge. And last year they had, have you seen those kind of like plastic igloos?
Yes.
They had like plastic igloos, and you can call and reserve. And this year they're doing food. So there's different kind of like charcuterie boards and cocktails. And so you can call ahead to make reservations. And in the past they've had, and it's 21 and over this year. And the past they've had fire pits, and you can order like a s'more board, hot cocoa, different
That's
stuff
awesome.
like that.
Yeah. Brian and I did something like that last year, and it seemed really cool. It was a rooftop, and they had the igloos. It was snowing and sleeting. And so we were in there, and it had a heater. There were like 4 of them out on the rooftop, and we were the only people out there. And the service staff were like getting pelted by sleet coming in and out to like bring us our drinks and food. So it was an interesting experience. Needless to say, they had a table for you indoors whenever you were ready to like give up. So like we just, as soon as we finished eating, we went inside. But that sounds really cool. And Vegas, you don't have to worry about getting pelted by.
That's the thing too, that, I mean, we're obviously going to be more of a travel destination this time of year than Chicago is. And so that's probably why we already have, dates and times lined up for things.
Well, that's a good point. I think the big things that you must do every season in Chicago is to go down the Magnificent Mile, which is Michigan Avenue, look through the windows and just, take in the spirit of the holidays. There's a lot of shopping, but there's a lot of street performers, and it's just fun and festive. It's the same in the Loop on State Street, which is where Macy's is, because Macy does their holiday windows. And those are just things that you got to do. Something that also is really fun that I think I would love to do as an adult, which I've never done, is the Chris Kindle Market, and you can get some mulled cider or mulled wine in a boot, a ceramic boot, which a lot of people do, and they collect the ceramic boots. But I haven't done that, like having a boozy outing. Usually I'm with my kids, and sometimes having an alcoholic beverage makes me way too sleepy and not really want to parent anymore. So I've been resistant in doing that, but maybe that's just me and some of my ridiculous hangups.
Well, and that's what we're, kind of talking about exactly, is preparing to do something with just adults, right? Setting aside that time. Yeah, definitely. And so that was one of the things that you were talking about, is walking the Magnificent Mile. The final thing I have, which is outdoors as well as the park. It's located between the New York and Park MGM. And it is outside. I know because it's outside T-Mobile. So when we go to the night games, close to there is a park, and they have big sculptures and statues and things like that. And so they're calling it the Holiday Experience at the park. And it has every Friday through Sunday in December, carolers will be strolling from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then you kind of follow them to Toshiba Plaza, which is in front of the T-Mobile Arena. And there'll be pop-up dining experiences that have holiday treats like mulled wine, German sausages, waffles on a stick. And then there are pop-up holiday entertainment experiences there as well. So obviously you'd be purchasing food and drink if you were there, but that is a free event to kind of walk around and feel the vibe.
Yeah, that's cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. Wow, Vegas does have some fun and festive ones. Yeah, the last one I had, which my girlfriends and I are kicking around doing this year, is this BYOB Santa party bus. I looked through it, and I don't know why it's BYOB, because you start at a bar and restaurant, you make stops at festive holiday places that maybe that's it. You buy your own drinks at the festive holiday places. It's not like you actually bring bottles on the bus with you. Right. Maybe you do, but I don't want to get completely annihilated.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. It has food. They have food. You start at a restaurant, you grab some food, you get on the bus, you hit all the holiday sites. So you can hit the Chris Kindle Market. Navy Pier is another, holiday place. So that is really fun, I hear. And so that is on our list this year to hit.
Fun.
Yeah.
And you also have is there a market? Some kind of German.
That was the Chris Kindle Market with the mulled wine and the boot. It's one of the traditional German markets. It's sort of like how it says German, but I mean, I think like Vienna, Austria kind of thing reminds me of something like that too.
Yeah. I wish there was supposed to be. I was like, that, so we have a new thing that came here last year called Enchanted or whatever. And I think it's kind of in different areas, and it's at the Vegas ballpark. And they said they were going to have German inspired markets, which I was really excited about, but it was basically like farmers markets.
Yeah.
So we have year round farmers markets here. And so that's where you can buy also crafts and homemade wares and things like that. And so that's what they had there. I don't know what I wanted it to be. I don't know what in my mind was a wonderful German market. But yeah, sometimes it's just going, and I don't know. There's something about just experiencing the vibe. I don't know how to describe that.
I agree. I think, and I think a lot of one of the things I talked about in the blog post is not only going to Michigan Avenue or State Street and walking around, but clearly you need to eat a meal too. And so putting in some suggestions there where I think just eating out downtown, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whether it's just a cup of coffee, maybe even a dessert in the afternoon. There's a lot of really fun festive experiences.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite restaurants that overlooks Michigan Avenue is called 676, and it's in the Omni Hotel. And like, it's fantastic because you can grab a window overlooking Michigan Avenue in the middle of the day, sit there. My husband and I have done it a couple of times. I've done it by myself a couple of times. It's never crowded. It's not like the Walnut Room that gets sold out 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
But I think finding those fun and festive places in your own town.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for a cocktail. So I'm assuming everyone's going to be having holiday cocktails. I've had a lot of misses recently, not a lot of hits, but I'm like, ooh, what's this? Recently, I don't know if you've noticed this, Huckleberry has been on all the menus here. Have you had some Huckleberry recently?
I have not.
Yeah, but I mean, holiday flavors I'm going to be thinking are like ginger, cinnamon, peppermint, all of the things I love. I love it.
Those all sound very delicious.
Yes.
And we are hosting Christmas this year. And so Christmas Eve. And so one of my friends posted that they're already testing out what their holiday drink is going to be. Yeah. But I think that's part of it too, is I want to do a fun, festive drink for those who want to partake on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I love a sangria for a group. I've done holiday sangria. There was a drink I made one time that was so popular. I'll have to look it up and send it to you. And I'm not a whiskey person, but it had whiskey in it. And I ended up I wish I would have made it in a large pitcher because I just spent the whole party making cocktails for everybody. Because everyone's like, "Where'd you get that?" Like they sampled it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to figure that one out." And so I was like, "Oh, that was super popular." Next time, and I'll do like non-alcoholic and alcohol, like big tumblers, pitchers, whatever those are called, with a little spout. And so I'll do like a non-alcoholic fun one as well. But yeah, that sounds like fun. Testing out some fun holiday.
I've found that, sometimes we all get so busy with life and we forget to kind of lift our head up and like just take a breath and look around. And I found that when I do that and I go out and about and really kind of take in the holidays, it feels like I'm celebrating the holidays more. I can think of other holidays in the past where I didn't do that as much and it didn't feel as much of a holiday, right? And then I found myself kind of feeling sad or feeling like I missed out on something instead of taking those moments and, just being mindful and grateful about the holiday season, which I think what we're trying to talk about is taking time for yourself. It's about connections with other people and making time to make those connections with others as well as ourselves and spending time being self-ful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we're encouraging everyone to do, is not to get wrapped up in these shoulds and obligations, but taking a moment and being very purposeful with your time and really thinking, okay, will I be happy with this? And is that emotionally fulfilling, or is that really more emotionally draining for me? And so just kind of being purposeful and intentional and listening to yourself.
Yeah, that's some really great advice. So everyone, we want to wish you a very happy, self-ful holiday. Get your plans going with your tribe, and really be mindful and enjoy every moment.
Absolutely. Have a good time. Follow your joy. Thanks for listening and joining us today.
And don't forget to follow us on social media at Chasing Brighter or on our blog, chasingbrighter.com.